Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to introduce to you guys my client Jack, who is a powerlifter. Now, I would say strongman too, because he's done one strongman competition down here in Texas, but he only did one, doesn't plan on doing more, so we're just going to call him powerlifter. So, we're running him again kind of on 5-3-1 training, traditional type 5-3-1, not my work mode version. He likes it, he gets good results on it. And these files got all out of order, so it's almost hard for me to figure out which one is which in terms of his ramp ups. But he had a relatively decent week here. We didn't go super hard. He just came back from some illness. So we're keeping his training max a little conservative for a couple weeks, and we'll see how this next phase goes because we just started a new block after this. But on the benching, he stopped at one on this is a 1+ week. So he ended up getting like 290 for one, and he just called it. And when I saw the footage, I'm like, well, you could have got reps with that. But he's like, yeah, I just wanted to be conservative. And as a coach, I'm fine with that. I don't mind some of my more advanced lifters sandbagging those things a little bit. And to put in perspective, I think his best bench so far is around 330, right? About 330. And he's squatted over 400, and he's pulled 515 at a meet. So, again, I think we'll classify him as an advanced lifter. I think that's totally fair. Sometimes when I get lifters like that, I've had people who go, I don't think this person's an advanced lifter. I'm like, well, they've deadlifted 500 and benched 350. I think they are an advanced lifter. People's standards get a little funny as far as how they classify people. But his bench days are pretty straightforward, do boring but big. We do pull-ups or chin-ups. He does flat dumbbell presses, right? And we call it a day. So in his case, I'm working a lot more on his chest. He needs a lot more chest on his bench. All right, squatting. I think he ended up getting 3 reps on this one. So we're bumping his training max just a little bit, just a hair, not a lot. But, we're, again, working off fairly conservative training maxes, like 355 right now. Because his squat had regressed a bit. He needed to work on his squat, and it's something that we need to fix for him because he has a lot of glute weakness. He tends to have a lot of hamstring weakness, things like that. So posterior chain in general has been a weak link for him. And you guys will see what I mean when we see the posterior chain work because we get to the glute ham raises. He just does the negatives. He can't really do glute ham raises yet. And this is someone who's pulled 515 in comp, right? Last meet, he deadlifted 515. And I think this goes to show, number one, how hard the glute ham raises are. Number two, that, again, you can have glaring weak links and still have a strength base. So his squat days are pretty straightforward. And like I said, he got 3 reps with the squat. And, it was something like, I don't know, whatever, 335 or something in that range, 95% of 355. Because that's what his current training max is. And I'll put those training maxes below. So what we do on his squat days, and sorry guys, these files got really out of order. We do good mornings with a safety bar. And you guys notice he struggles with the hip hinge a little bit on it. Now keeping in mind he's a slightly taller guy. He's a bit above average height. He's over 6 foot. I don't remember his exact height right now. So we do safety bar good mornings because his posterior chain needs a ton of work. We've got weak hamstrings, we've got glute weaknesses, things like that. And then we do hanging leg raises also. But again, you guys can kind of watch. So this is one of the things that's interesting to see. When you put lifters on their supplemental work and you see how strong they are on it, like these accessory movements, when you've picked out a weak link, those weak links come out. Right, you will see those weak links come out and their movement patterns and the amount of weight they can use. So again, for him, hip hinging is a problem, but notice he can squat deep just fine. Okay, we don't really have a quad weakness. We don't have a true adductor weakness. So for him, glutes limit his squatting, hamstrings limit his deadlifting. And, we can make the case for both of those being a limit on the deadlift. He's tall, with fairly long limbs, and he's got a strong back, so he's just good at deadlifting anyways, in spite of that. And the reality is His deadlift is going to go up a lot when we fix those things. It's going to go up tremendously once they're fixed. But again, I apologize. These files got a little out of order, and he couldn't figure them out even once we sent them this week in Messenger. Again, first time we did a vlog, we ran into some snafus there. Up next, we do his press day, and pretty straightforward, same thing. He ended up getting 185 for a triple. So again, he's pretty good at the press. But taller guys with strong triceps, because he's got strong triceps, we see it on his bench. He's good at his bench lockouts. Taller guys with strong triceps are going to tend to be real good at the press. But yeah, I mean, he's able to do, 185 for a triple. Doing pretty good there. All right, that means his max is, in that 200 plus pound range. And notice again, he can hold these lockouts. So again, strong triceps. And then we do 5 sets of 10 on this. And usually I do extra back work at this point, so inverted rows or pull-ups again for him. We were doing dumbbell rows, but there's no need for those. I would rather an athlete move their body through space, to be perfectly honest. So I prefer body weight type exercises for the most part these days for most of my lifters for their lats, if they're going to be an athlete, because I think an athlete should be able to move their body through space. So we're doing dumbbell tricep extensions. All right, dumbbell tricep extensions. And again, full range of motion exercise for the triceps so that we work all 3 heads. And puts it in that stretch position, because we could argue about the stretch position for the bottom of a lot of our movements, as well as, triceps hypertrophy. So, again, his press day, very straightforward. And we'll see in here coming up whatever the other supplemental work is. I forget what I have him do. Yeah, he's doing inverted rows on it. So nice wide grip inverted row, which I'm also a fan of. And these will build your pull-ups, because not everyone can do wide grip pull-ups for enough reps. This will help build it up. And there's a lot of overlap in the movement pattern. The emphasis is slightly different, of course. But the overlap of the muscles involved is quite similar. All right, deadlifting, he wasn't feeling today. He felt his low back, feeling weak. So we had 450 on, and he stopped at a double when we get to his heaviest set. So we get up to 450, he stops. So I think that's his 5 rep warm up, because he does a 5, a 3, and then we do a 1 plus. So again, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with a guy whose best deadlift ever in comp is 515. It's an all-out max doing 450 for a double. Perfectly reasonable in training. Perfectly reasonable. And then, of course, he does back off work. And then we do glute ham raises, right? We do sets of 10 to back off, then we do glute ham raises. We may not have got his 10 rep sets on here. But the glute ham raises, notice we're getting him to the point to where he can almost do one. So he pretty much just has to do a negative with hand assisting, as he's trying to get stronger at these. And again, it highlights how difficult this movement is, and it will really, really bring out a hamstring weakness. So we're having to work really hard on these, and this is where he's weakest. These posterior chain exercises are really what's holding him back, and it's going to be our largest point of emphasis. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.